So we are here today with Mrs. Shaw, the principal of Bishop McGuinness High School, and we are going to be talking to all three principals of the Diocese high schools, and we're going to ask them the same questions, and we're going to see the different responses that they give and how they lead and how they serve the community of Bishop McGuinness, Christ the King, and Charlotte Catholic. So Mrs. Shaw, the first question I have for you is, how do you feel your impact on Bishop McGuinness has helped the student body and the overall landscape that Bishop has?
I think that since I've been principal, I've really focused on giving the students an opportunity for voices to be heard and for them to feel as if they have ownership in the school, so that because it is their school, and also to give the faculty ownership as well because it's their school as well. And I think with that we've started some really neat programs that some have been adult driven, some have been student driven, such as our ambassador program, our BIGS program, and then of course we're in the beginning stages of a leadership initiative that's slowly shifting the entire culture of the school.
Yeah, we started that this year, so continue for years on down the line.
Hopefully that's the goal.
That's the goal. How do you feel your position of faith has helped advance the Bishop McGuinness community?
What do you mean exactly by position of faith?
Your premises, like your Catholic ideals, the way that you see.
So I think when I make any decision, there's a process that I go through. One is the impact specifically on students and teachers, and then I do look at it in regards to the Catholic beliefs, my personal beliefs, so to speak, in regards to faith. I think because of my faith, that gives, I don't want to say an advantage, but the fact that I can take a moment if I need to and walk down the hallway and sit in the chapel and have quiet time and pray about something, I think is very unique and beneficial because most principals wouldn't have that other than in a faith-filled school. I think most of my prayer life is spent in praying for my students and their families, and I always pray that they hear God's will for them, that they open their hearts and their minds to whatever He will, lead them to be. I mean, that's really how I do everything. I ask God for me to hear Him, for me to do His will, and to not be afraid to do that if it's something that might be met by some challenges, I guess, so to speak.
And then we, as you say on the announcements every day, we pray for our friends and each other. So it doesn't,
yes, we do, absolutely.
Doesn't seem like that's a wavering aspect in your life or Bishop McGuinness as a whole. If you could change one aspect of Bishop McGuinness, what would it be and why?
Oh, I don't know. I think we're pretty awesome. I mean, change, I guess, so to speak, would have to do with our physical plant. I mean, I would love for us to have an actual theater and fine arts facility to grow that part of our school life, and to that too, to expand some space in regards to athletics, to give them their own space so it's not so much shared. I think that will allow the school to just be able to offer more for our students.
It'll be a little bigger, like Charlotte Catholic has the initiative going right now.
Well, we won't ever be that big.
Not that big, but
But to have a fine arts facility would be amazing, yes.
If you could take something from either Charlotte Catholic or Christ the King to bring here to Bishop, what would one aspect of it be? Or what
do you mean, like programming or?
Program or specific tools they use or anything that they use at either of the two places that you could bring to Bishop and see it working well and that you would like to do?
I mean, as far as, although we're different, each of the schools, we are very similar in process and all of that such. I think from Charlotte Catholic, if we're looking currently, it would be nice to have a stadium like they do. And Christ the King, they offer an aviation class that I think would be pretty cool to offer here.
That's very cool. So what's the best part about being a principal in a Catholic school and Bishop specifically?
Well, the best part is the students. There's a lot about this job that is not fun, but the fact that if I'm having a bad day, right, if things aren't going my way, I just leave my office and go down and sit in a classroom. It's funny, people don't like lunch duty. I love lunch duty. I love handing out the paper towels. I like stopping at every table and talking to all of you. Because you're amazing, and what you all are doing is so, you keep me grounded and focused, and make sure I keep our mission first and foremost in everything that I do.
And my final question is how do you feel Bishop McGuinness is unique to the diocese school system?
Unique, let's see. I think we're unique in that. Are you asking in reference to the other two high schools, or just in general?
To the whole system is.
I think what we're doing with the leadership initiative and how we're really trying to empower the students, empower you all to see that each of you is a leader in your own right, and leadership looks different ways, and to utilize that to help you grow in your faith life, in your academic life, and in service and such. I think that's what makes us unique. I think our size, there are downfalls to being small, but the upside is that, we all know each other, and so we can look out for each other, and I think that's to our benefit, because as the principal, the fact that I know everyone's first name, and I know everyone's first name for all the right reasons and not the wrong reasons, and that students aren't necessarily afraid to stop in my office to talk to me about something. And that relationship that our students have with other adults in the building, I think, is just very unique and special, and makes us one of a kind.
I would agree. It's a special place here.
Yes, it is.
It's sad to leave here in a few short weeks. But
few short weeks, yes.
So thank you, Mrs. Shaw, for your time, and this is a great project, and I can't wait to finish it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Matt.
Hey, good afternoon, Matt and his colleagues from Bishop McGuinness. I'm Kurt Telford, K-U-R-T, T-E-L-F-O-R-D, and I'm sorry we weren't able to get together, so in lieu of that, we're going to do this video that I'm going to send. I'm going to read the questions. Question number 1, how do you feel your impact on your specific school has helped the student body and the overall landscape of Charlotte Catholic? I feel like I've had a positive impact. This is my 5th year. I believe my role is to try to do a few things. One is to guide students, but also teachers, and try to be an advocate for both, and trying to do that through the faith of the Catholic Church. So what I try to do, and hopefully I've had a good impact, is do everything through the prism of the church. And again, I think I've had a good impact, but like anything, you could, at Bishop McGuinness, ask about Ms. Shaw. Sometimes it depends on the day of the week and what I did either to upset a student or to benefit a student. But I think overall I've had a good impact. How do you feel your position of faith has advanced the community of Charlotte? Again, try to make all the decisions based on faith. Now, the difficulty is, depending on where you are, and when I talk about discipline, sometimes we have difficult things with discipline. People will look at my role as being old-fashioned Catholic school principal, and they don't want any mercy. They want, like it was years ago, that student should be gone. Usually if they're the ones who have been the victim of some discipline. And then the other side of that is, well, you're a Catholic school, why aren't you merciful? And what I mean by being merciful is, in my estimation, they want a break, or they don't want to have to fulfill the discipline policy. But what I try to do is practice my faith. I think that's the most difficult, is maybe try to be a model in the sense that I'm trying to live my faith. And that, again, is a challenge, and I wouldn't want somebody to judge me on the basis of how I live my faith, because I think faith can be very personal, and sometimes you could see somebody who in public does everything, it looks like they're living their faith, when maybe thoughts or their actions when people aren't looking are less than faithful. So again, I try to demonstrate by living my faith. If you could change one aspect of your school, what would it be and why? I think what I would change, if I could, maybe the social media contributes to this. Sometimes how we treat each other, and I'm talking about adults and students, that, again, I'm old school, I'm not on social media, but it used to be, years ago, if you wanted to have a disagreement with somebody, you had a disagreement, it was usually you and that person and just the people that person or you surrounded yourself with. Now, you have a disagreement, or you don't like what somebody did, or you want to intimidate that person, you just post on social media. I think it's made it very, very difficult. And I think it's easy because it can come from anywhere. So somebody can make a comment about this student or that student, that teacher, the principal, and there's no accountability. Where years ago, if you had something to say, you might say it in your small group and it wasn't for the world to see. So I would change that not only at Charlotte Catholic, but probably at other high schools. What is something I would like to implement from one of the other high schools at Charlotte Catholic? I like how Bishop McGuinness does their internships. Yes, you do those after winter break. Again, I haven't done a lot of research on it, but I've heard the kids from Bishop talk about it, where you end up doing an internship for a week, and that may be in lieu of your midterm exam. So that would be something that I would like to do. What's the best part of being the principal at Charlotte Catholic High School? I am truly blessed to be here. I was a public school principal for many, many years and enjoyed that very much. But being in a Catholic school, one, I get to practice my faith and, again, try to lead. God is all around us, and we can say it. I think the other is that I'm surrounded at this school by incredibly talented support staff, teachers, and also the students. And I feel like it's truly a community. It's not just a school, but it's a community, and we try to work together. We don't always agree on everything, but we do try to work together. So I think that's the best part. I'm just part of the community and hopefully making my contribution to making the community better. How do I feel Charlotte Catholic is unique to the diocesan system? Well, what I found is interesting, and I've been in a program through Boston College for the last 20 months. I finished actually in early April, is that we are a pretty large Catholic school. We're 1,200 students, 912. And when I've met with colleagues from other parts of the nation, we are probably one of the bigger Catholic high schools in the nation. And so I think that's unique. So we have our unique perspective is we could offer every program that's conceivable. And not all Catholic schools can do that because of size. So I think that's made us unique. I also think, and I don't know that this is unique, but the Charlotte Catholic brand is big and well respected in Charlotte. And what I mean by brand, if I wore a Catholic sweatshirt, and I've done this in Charlotte, everybody knows that's the school, and I'm not advertising necessarily the religion, I'm advertising Charlotte Catholic High School. If I wore that same shirt in Winston-Salem, unless somebody was Catholic and was familiar with Charlotte Catholic, if I wore the Catholic sweatshirt, they think I was advertising the Catholic religion, which I guess I am in one way, but again, first I'm advertising the school. So again, are we unique? I don't know if we're any more unique than Bishop or Christ the King are, but I feel here we're a well-respected brand. So those are all the questions. I'm glad I was able to send this. Hopefully it will be beneficial for you. I guess it's a senior religion project Matt is doing with his colleagues, and there may be some people from Our Lady of Grace who are in the class who may be in Matt's group. A shout out to you. And again, I think the most important thing being Catholic is we can be proponents for our faith. We can hopefully prepare you for when you graduate, because you may have questions about the faith. Hopefully you'll be able to get answers before you graduate, but we want you to always feel like we're here for you, whether it's at Bishop or it's Christ the King or at Charlotte Catholic. And again, another thing that I think is unique about our community, and my guess, because I've never been at Bishop McGinnis as a teacher, that true sense of community, that people do come back and share with us their positive experiences, and in some cases some negative experiences in college. But we feel like we've prepared kids, and again, with the faith, that kids can make wise decisions on their futures and what they want to do. Thank you very much. I've probably taken 15 minutes. It's Tuesday the 30th of April. Again, Kurt Telford, K-U-R-T, T-E-L-F-O-R-D, Principal of Charlotte Catholic, signing off. Thanks.
Okay, how do you feel your impact on Christ the King has helped the student body and the overall landscape of the school?
Well, I believe that every principal, it's only my second year here, should really try to absorb the culture of the school and kind of get up to speed with how the school is doing, and then add their own personal flair. So it's a lot like St. Paul's letter, we're many members but one body. So I just try to see the culture and the direction of the body of Christ the King, and tried to add to that with my own personality. I have a good sense of humor. I like to joke around with the kids and things like that. But I'd say that the main charism of Christ the King, because it's a smaller school, is really to have sort of student-led projects, student-led focus, and a lot of collaboration, and spiritually based, I guess, initiatives and things of that nature.
Having students involved.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel your position of faith has advanced the community of your school?
You know, my position on Catholicism is, a lot of people have sort of this either-or thoughts on the way you approach Catholicism, and they really feel like if you're Orthodox, you have to be irrelevant, or to be relevant to students, you kind of have to be unorthodox. So my approach is to try to be relevant as a Catholic to teenagers, but also be true to what the Church is teaching. So sort of this combo of orthodoxy and relevance. So somehow to take the kind of the truths that have been around for 2,000 years and sort of modernize it to the language of the youth today. St. Jerome, when he was translating the Bible, he said, I feel like I'm on a ship that's between two rocky coasts. If I translate it too literally, it won't get the sense of the original language. If I translate it too liberally, I'll lose the message. So when he translated the Bible into different languages, his goal was to try to speak the language of the people he was translating in, but not adding his own 2 cents into what it was saying. And I think that's what I try to do as a principal, to take this 2,000-year-old message and make it current, but to the language of the people.
Okay. If you could change one aspect of your school, what would it be and why?
That's a good question. Like I would like to. It's a school of about 305, and it's going to be about 325 next year. And I like a small school, and I don't think it'll ever, well, at least in the near future, be more than 500. But it would be nice if we could get maybe just a little larger, maybe to 350 or so, because then you're at the point where you can offer maybe a few more sections of an elective. So right now, the good thing about our school is it's small class sizes and we offer a lot of things. But if you wanted, for example, elective A, you may be a little limited into what you can do with your other free periods. So if we had those maybe extra 2 sections, then the students, the seniors, could pick the 2 electives they want. So I think just not to grow enormously, but to grow just slightly larger so that the students have a better selection.
Yeah. We definitely understand that at Bishop.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're in a similar
Aren't you?
size.
You guys are a fairly new school, right? When
Yes.
were you built?
So this is our 8th year.
Yeah,
and I
that's
believe
pretty-
our the 6th year in this building, but an 8th year in existence.
Yeah.
You're pretty
So you're
quick.
growing.
Yeah, it's going.
You're
it's going well,
Yes,
sure.
That's
And
good.
we're happy with the growth and happy with the
That's
size.
good. That's
It's
very
just,
good.
You know,
Yeah,
just
it's
slightly
great.
larger allows the students more choice. I
Yes.
guess.
No, that's very true.
Opportunity. What is something you would like to implement from one or 2 other high schools?
Well, Mrs. Shore kind of turned me onto this idea of the winter room, and we have between the 2 semesters a thing called Bridge Week, which is sort of a alternative curriculum week where we have outside speakers and what have you. But winter room is a really exciting thing where apparently the seniors get to do internships at 2 different businesses or service organizations or corporations, and then present what they've learned. And I think that's a really intriguing idea for our seniors. So it's something that I would probably want to learn more about with Mrs. Shaw, and then see if our
Our
seniors
English
are
teacher
interested.
runs it, so maybe
Yeah.
talking to her too.
Oh, English. Oh, great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
Got
English
it.
is a good subject for because
Yeah.
English teaches you,
Right.
for life, really.
It was a really great experience.
us
Like
show
I
the letters.
encourage it
Oh,
a
good,
lot.
good.
Like it was amazing.
We do smaller, like shadowing internships, like
Yeah.
2-day internships, but this seems more focused.
It was.
And
It was great.
formal.
Yeah.
So I like that.
They make it count for a project grade too, so we're all
Okay.
Yeah.
on it. And
So
do
it makes
really
you-
well,
Yes,
too.
yeah.
Even if you don't like it.
Yes. Yeah.
Good, good, good.
What is the best part of being a principal at a Catholic high school?
Well, I would have to say that's a tough question, but there's a phrase by Bishop Malloy, who was one of the bishops up in New York where I came from, and it's Salus animarum supremo lex, the health of the soul is sort of the highest law. And as Catholics we do, and as educators I think in general we believe students are holistic, even public schools want to address the mind and the body and the intellect, but we add that last part, the soul. And I just think that's the best part about Catholic education, because there's a lot of things that happen in life, disappointments intellectually or even mentally, emotionally, and certainly all schools try to nurture kids and young adults, but we can go to that next level with spirituality. So, if you came in here and said, your grandmother had passed away in a public school, I could kind of give you emotional support, psychological support, but here we could sit down and maybe say a prayer together, or I could have you talk to the chaplain, or I could tell you that I believe in an afterlife. So it's that health of the soul thing, that's that one little extra level I think is the best part.
Boost your spirit a little bit.
Yes,
That
yes.
is true.
How do you feel as Christ the King is unique to the diocese?
I think it's unique for, a couple of ways. One, we're sort of the new game in town in the northern part of the Max area. So Charlotte Catholic High School is a great high school, and a lot of people in this area, it's such a great school that they would commute to go there, and it's not too close, but it's close enough. And but the people, as this area sort of grew from sort of farmland and what have you into a lot of housing developments and what have you, the population here really burgeoned, and a lot of the parishes up here have a lot more Catholic. So when Bishop Jugas took the chance, along with all the parents here who kind of petitioned it in starting this school, I think we sort of have a unique niche, I'd say geographically. And I also think that, the great thing I think about Charlotte, for the Max system now, Charlotte Catholic and Christ the King, is they're both strong Catholic schools, but they have, different flavors. One's larger, has a longer sports history, a longer alumni association, where it may be smaller, maybe in some ways, because we're smaller, where you have a lot of student-focused projects, a lot of innovation as far as like students may say, let's try this program.
Involvement.
Yeah, it evolves
Yeah.
with student ideas. And 60 years from now, we'll probably have a lot of routines.
Yeah.
So I think the unique thing is, I think the size, the geography, and because we're new, we can kind of, not all the boxes are filled yet. We can kind of come up with new ways of doing things that schools that have tradition, and you don't always want to change things if things are going really well. So I think that's it. Yeah, it's sort of there's still question marks to be answered, and that's, I think, exciting for the students. And then once you have the tradition, you see what works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
All right.
Thank you very
All
much.
Thank you
Was
so
that
much.
fine?